All right, James, you wanted to open the show talking about beer?
Well, we always have a beverage. The show is always 1.5, some kind of caffeine, CBD. We get drunk sometimes, do the podcast. So today, I need to be seeing me sip this beverage in a beer glass that looks a lot like beer.
Yeah. Does it taste a lot like beer?
It does, actually. Now, it's a non-alcoholic IPA. And what it does for me is it can scratch that itch if I feel like having a drink, but I need to perform in the morning. And having a drink right now probably isn't the best decision, big picture. But more importantly, we've discussed on the podcast many times. Now I tell bartenders this, I tell brew like my sweet spot's that 7 to 8% range. Because it really is. I thought about this. Like, yeah, man, all the beers I love are between 7 and 8%. However, let's say you're gonna have some beers earlier in the day. You're an IPA guy like me, like you and me, and you're like, you know what? Can I really put back 7% beers today and function at a reasonably sane level? Most people can't. If you can, more props to you. So what I learned recently is I had one of these non-alcoholic IPAs, and then I went into a 4.5% IPA. The 4.5% IPA following this non-alcoholic beer tasted as good as a 7.5% IPA. So you can have one of these first to tweak your palate, and then you'll enjoy the less strong IPA at a higher level. So
Oh,
that is my new beer hack. If you're going to have, more than three, let's call it.
this is interesting because at first, when I see a non alcoholic beer, I think that guy was an alcoholic and now he's trying not to be an alcoholic anymore. So, this is a new spin on non alcoholic beer right here.
This is if you're trying to be a better alcoholic and function at a higher level.
I like this, but at first I thought it was your fix, like methadone to heroin or masturbating to sex. But no, this is your dynamic warm up or your, like, I don't know, meditation, something before that it kind
Yeah,
of
it's kind of like
enhances.
it will tie back to the UFC. It's like a pre-fight ritual. It's Diego Sanchez walking to the cage screaming yes.
No. Oh, nice.
It's Clay Guida who just can't control his insane energy. And he's got to bounce around leading up to the fight.
No, so he has to have his brother smack the shit out of him before he gets into the cage. But this is your early prelims. The 4.5% is the prelims. The main card is the 7%.
I like that too, man. I always prefer Jason Guida over Clay. I don't know why.
Is that like you and brother Mark?
Maybe it's because I feel for older brothers who have younger brothers that outshine them.
I mean, performance bonus brother Mark, or is this saying you're outshining brother Tony?
You know,
And
let's let the listeners fill in the blank, man. Let's let the listeners extrapolate what they do from that statement.
all right, UFC 262. It's crazy because Oliveira becomes the champ. We have Usman the champ, Volkanovski the champ. Nunes has become an all-timer. You can even say Jan or Jan. He became champ. Now all we need is Robert Whitaker and Cyril Gane to become champs.
It's crazy, man. And After the fight, I'm like, did I say on the pod I'm gonna pick him in part because he's a show character?
I think so, but I cannot 100% remember.
Neither can I, man. I black out during every pod. I know I picked Oliveira. That's all that I know. But I have no idea if I picked Dariush or Ferguson.
Okay, the show sucks, so that means we both picked Oliveira and Dariush. So
Well, hang on though. But if we're both correct, does that negate the we're not first take?
yes,
Stephen A. Smith makes what, 7 million a year? What would I make? $7,000 a year. So I'm just behind him in media earnings. I think we lose $7 a month right now. So anyway, but so if we're both correct though, that might be like I don't know. It's like when people will go back and they'll put down a corner for saying something after their fighter loses. But if the fighter would have won, they would accept how the corner coached them.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like it's a revisionist history.
yeah, kind of a confirmation bias a little bit. Now, Oliveira Chandler, what'd you think watching the fight?
That was a true Oliveira fight. Lots happening. You had, Chandler with his submission attempt, Oliveira on Chandler's back for a long period of time. You have Oliveira apparently hurt to some degree, and then he gets the finish. Like it was just. That's how, I don't know. I need to go back and like watch. That's how I picture or remember every Oliveira fight going.
When I was watching, I was just thinking momentum shifts, lead changes, and just how exciting it was to watch. And I always say, I think generally sports are more exciting to watch when there's lead changes. And that kind of plays into this, like you said, the arm and guillotine, Oliveira has his back, reversal out of the body lock, Chandler drops him, Oliveira's on his hands and knees, he's taking shots, round ends, Chandler's on top, things going his way, and then round 2 happens, and it's like, whoa, we didn't even have enough time to get into round 2, and it was just over in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
It felt like round 1 lasted 2 minutes. It's
sure
crazy. Did. Even rewatching it, it doesn't feel like 5 minutes. And it's fitting because how difficult I had of a time of picking a winner, the back and forth. It's exactly how the fight was, back and forth, who's going to win. And it played out perfectly.
And he lost in true Michael Chandler fashion. Like when he loses recently in the past like half decade or longer, he loses by an early TKO KO.
Yeah, when it did happen, I did think about you saying that on the show. And
I said,
what's that?
I said, don't write a book during fight camp.
Oh, that's right. You bought Michael Chandler's book.
And that is why I picked Oliveira. For no other reason other than I'm like, too many things going on, man. Although he looked good in that first round. So I'm like, maybe I'm wrong.
There's a lot of things you can say are the reason. It's difficult to pick exactly what it is, but if you can find the reason that works, and we both did.
Yes. Now, that finish reminded me of something. I would say, can you guess what? But I'm just going to tell you anyway. But I'll let it kind of simmer for a minute here.
Was it MMA?
Yes. It reminded me of Conor's finish of Chad Mendes. Okay. Where Mendes is along the cage. Now he's more tired. It's a different round. It's at the end of the round, third round. So Mendes is completely gassed, but he's kind of dazed. He's kind of wobbly. And he's he's like walking semi sideways and rounding along the cage, and Connors walks him down until he lands that kill shot. And then Oliveira, in the same sense, Chandler's moving in the opposite direction. Oliveira walks him down till he lands the kill shot, and then he gets the finish.
And Chandler did have a guillotine. Mendez had a guillotine.
They might be brothers. They might be the same person.
Wow. They are thick. It's it reminded me of UFC 252 Sweet Technique, which was Stipe versus Cormier. When Stipe, he cut off the cage and then landed this big shot. They were technically different, but it just kind of reminded me that rounding shot and how you cut someone off. You just utilize the cage and then the direction the person's moving. But I like Mendez being compared to Chandler rather than Cormier being compared to both same height. All three guys actually the same height, which is crazy. The Oliveira, he just landed a simple right cross left hook. It, whatever, it was crisp. It was a nice hand recovery on that right hand. And Chandler he just threw the right hand. He pulled back with his hands down, considered a cardinal sin in boxing, whatever. I think it's done more than people think. But he didn't throw his left hook. And one thing I didn't see him throw too much that I always see him on the pads, I absolutely love Chandler on the pads, is his right cross duck under. The move that Usman, I can tell, is implementing more and more in his game. And it's a move that Floyd Mayweather loves doing. It's a high percentage move. Throw the right hand, duck under, come over on the other side, and you can actually get good distance with your shot. But the UFC 262 Sweet Technique is in this fight. Can you guess what it is?
Within the rounds, like from the point where the bell starts or the bell ends.
I should have had it that Michael Chandler trying to upsell you in the email. I want to make that the Sweet Technique, but yes, it is within the fight.
Okay.
I'm trying not to be too cute,
Let me think this through here. Did it happen in round one?
It happened in both round one and round two. It was something that one did and the other didn't do. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying one guy did something, the other guy did the other. So it might be too obscure.
I don't know, man. I'm watching the knockout over and over again, trying to recollect my memory, but one guy did do, one guy didn't do. You did mention the hands up, and is it something with the hands being up?
No.
Ferguson or Chandler dropped his hands and Oliveira didn't.
No, it might be too obscure. I probably shouldn't even had you guess it, but 25,000 Charles Oliveira for surviving the Chandler onslaught by staying on the ground and transitioning. He goes from all fours. He does the head movement like Benson Henderson. He's done on the ground, and then transition to his back. He gets cracked with the shot, but is able to kind of grab a hold of Chandler. And, Oliveira stayed on the ground versus Chandler tried to evade.
Yeah.
And I think the time Chandler needed to wrestle, he didn't.
Yeah.
He has that in there. He's NCAA, last lost to Gregor in the, NCAA championships. And just, that was the moment that he could have went to the ground. And who knows if Oliveira would have subbed him or whatnot. But when he got Chad Mendez, But Chad Mendes was way more tired.
Man, I was hoping for a sub in that first round. I think that would have been Chandler's first submission loss.
When he got on his back and it was dry and it was early, I was like, man, he's in trouble. But I did have some faith in Chandler and that I think he's mentally strong, composed. He trains his ass off. He's a professional. And sometimes those thick wrestlers, and he just timed that reversal out of that body lock. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Dude, and that was the quickness in which he twisted there was badass. He must have just felt the slightest opening, timed it perfectly, fucking drove off that leg and got that.
Yeah, he did. He does. And he eventually, boom, planted that leg. He puts Oliveira's arm up in a certain way on a 2-on-1 and twist before he can get that arm bar, especially. Reminds me of when Verdum fought Walt Harris. He had his back. Walt Harris tried to escape, but he tried to do like an arm over one. And that's where I think it makes a difference between Chandler and those other guys is he's a pro. And he was saying that he'll let guys get his back. So then being able to reverse them and does it all the time. You know, it's a risky, but that fight was exciting as hell. I'm excited.
Oh, that was great. So I just watched, like, no Oliveira fight sucks. Correct. Like, what a good guy to be a champion. You will enjoy every main event he's in moving forward.
The only way it can suck is if you literally tear his esophagus out of his body.
Wow.
That's a Max Holloway reference.
Oh, he said that?
Because no, it lasted 7 seconds because he had a neck injury. Some esophageal tear.
Yes. So circling back to the finish, I wonder if Chandler wasn't as hurt from the first left hook.
Did you see how fast he did a backflip or a somersault and he got right up?
Right. That's why I'm saying that. He could have exploded out of the cage there, I thought. The quickness he displayed getting up there. And I wonder if there was a shot a little bit after that one. He's against the cage.
100%.
Maybe that was the shot that was the precursor to the finish. Maybe that's the one that hurt him.
You are correct. Yes. Have you ever played Metroid? You know how Metroid is standing there and all of a sudden he goes into a ball or she?
Yeah.
She's pretty fine too. Have you seen her?
Oh, how do you spell
You can
Metroid?
look up the Metroid. What is that? Samus in bikinis and stuff. My kids were looking them up and I looked over. I was like, damn, who's that? Dad, that's Metroid. I'm like, damn, she should be a ring card girl.
That reminds me, I have a top one of the week.
That's my top one. But that's what Chandler did was went down into a ball and got back up. And
oh yeah.
There were subsequent shots after that definitely hurt him, and then multiple ones until that final one. So I believe you are correct.
And I believe he was more tired than maybe you could just guess by watching him. Because when you're that kind, and I know he's good at fighting tired, and you were on that leading up to the fight, that he has like the Eddie Alvarez quality where he can fight pretty well exhausted.
And his fights versus Eddie Alvarez were excellent.
But does that affect you when you take those shots? Like, can you withstand a clean shot more easily if you're less tired? I would guess yes. I don't know if it's ever been like scientifically studied, but I believe that was a factor because it kind of came out of nowhere, man. He lands a left hook, he pops up with insane quickness, and then he's out 10 seconds later.
And Chandler, he's grown into his 155-pound body. He looks thicker. He's got that, he just great body. He's getting stronger, can hit harder. He's not anorexic anymore. And there is some irony in Chandler talking about Oliveira quitting in previous fights. And then Oliveira being hurt and being able to overcome. And then props to Chandler for his post-fight interview. Kind of the first thing he says is, you know, you just witnessed one of the toughest dudes on the planet coming back from adversity. I respect him. What he said about before, after you're knocked out or choked out, your opponent immediately going there trying to help you out. And I know Brother Mark hates that. I dislike it also. But and then also trying to not take the moment away, no excuse, just give him his moment. He did what he did, and I'll have to reassess what happened. I like Chandler.
Yeah, I thought his post-fight interview was great.
You're going to have to lend me that book because I like him. Now I might want to read it.
I'm going to implement this 2-week challenge and see if I become, if I get to the top. 14 days to the top. That's kind of where I'm always playing anyway, on the top. So maybe I gotta can I get to the bottom using this? All right, we'll see.
I like being on top. I implement my best weapons, but when I train stuff, I always like putting the most vulnerable positions and what I'm absolutely weakest at. And I love suffering. I'm surprised I'm not in S&M and I just like getting my ass kicked and everything. Because in real life, I love getting my ass kicked. And I can handle it. Pain doesn't not bother me. Mental pain does.
Fine line between pain and pleasure, they say.
It's the exact same thing for me. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm just lying. You look at the UFC. I've seen a little bit about, memes on Dana, and they're funny. Khabib leaving, Conor loses, Chandler loses. He's the prospect. Oliveira doesn't speak English. Actually, that's what I was thinking when it first happened. It's like, damn, Oliveira, can he speak English yet? Because I hate those fucking press conferences and everything. And then you have like Masvidal losing twice, Max losing, whatever. Ronda Rousey gets knocked out. But the sport is the show. I don't care. The fight goes on. And this is exactly what boxing promoters and boxing itself is like systematically afraid of. So you could look at it another way. Oliveira wins, opens up Brazilian market again. Masvidal lost while Usman helps the African market. And talk about markability. Francis Ngannou is a god. And Khabib leaves. The next fight that happens, you have an unbelievable lightweight title fight. So it's just how you spin it. The sport is the sport. Let it shine.
100% agree. And there's a couple guys coming up who could challenge Oliveira. We'll get some good old USA chants in the crowd. That always makes me proud to be an American when I hear that. And then you got, or potentially Conor. World star.
Have you ever chanted USA?
No.
What if you hate that guy? Like,
the
think
USA
of just
guy?
someone you hate and he's put another nationality or flag on him. Are you like just chanting USA just to say fuck that guy?
I think if you're hammered, you chant anything. It depends how drunk you are, man. If I'm past that 7% IPA mark, and people are chanting in the crowd, if I'm not passed out, which I did pass out during the UFC we went to for one fight, and I fell asleep right there in my seat. I think it was the fight before the Felder Oliveira fight, actually. Then I'll chant it.
I get enough double IPAs in me. I might get an American flag tattoo.
I will say, is within a few minutes of the main card, damn, did I miss empty arenas.
You love empty arenas more than anybody.
Fans make the experience worse for viewers.
It doesn't, for me, it's not, kind of impartial to it, but I do. I can appreciate your.
It's 80% idiots there. And don't get me wrong, when I was there, I was also an idiot. Like I fall right in line. I become the same idiot that I despise when I'm watching the event. So I'm not, I'm guilty of it as well. But if there's a way they could mute the crowd for me as a viewer,
Wow.
I would fucking love that. I'd pay extra to have that feature because I don't like the crowd, man.
So performance deduction, the crowd, minus $5 each person.
And the thing is, too, is I think the people in the crowd are the dumbest fans. Like, and what it just people who just UFC's coming and want to throw our money. It's the large percent of people in the stadium, and maybe in Australia it's different. I'm talking about in the USA.
What about us? We went to the event.
We're
the dumbest fans.
It's probably 10-ish%
okay.
of the audience that are people who are like, selective hardcores like me.
So now everyone who's listening is like, you know what? I was that 10%.
Or they weren't even there. And they're like, yeah, you're right. People just fucking throw around money, went to the event. Here I am. I'm a super fan. I'm at home watching it on a torrent or some shit.
I like it. Does Oliveira know that everyone doesn't speak Portuguese? Because that guy goes up to everyone and has a conversation with them in Portuguese. Tony in the press conference, Joe Rogan, Dana White, he like talks to them.
He was with Chuck Liddell in the back of the arena too, talking to him.
Chuck probably understands him somehow. Will Oliveira? No, let me go back to what I was going to say. Will the winner of Conor Poirier 3 fight Oliveira?
If they want to.
Will Conor if he wins?
No, Conor fights Usman.
Is Conor... So Oliveira's not big enough of a name, so it would have to be for the title is what Conor would want, not Oliveira.
He did make that declaration he's gonna get whatever. I know he makes a lot of yearly declarations lately that don't come true, but it sounds like his first goal is to get the lightweight title back and then go to 170, then go to 180, then go to 85, then go to 205.
And then he's the one to dethrone Cyril Gane. That's good. But I'll be looking forward to that fight, actually. Conor might have a chance.
He's got more power in his left, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
When is Poirier Conor? 2 months?
What is it, July? It's the title eliminator. I just don't. I wonder. Poirier will. I just don't know if Conor will.
Yeah, Poirier will. If I'm Justin Gaethje, I keep recovering from postcoital. Stay out longer, man. Keep recovering. Let the dust settle. Fight the winner of the next Oliveira fight.
I hope somehow this slows stuff up so Gregor Gillespie can kind of in somehow.
You think he can get to the top 5?
What's that?
You think he'll reach the top 5?
I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know what his cap is. His wrestling is absolutely phenomenal, but opportunity and situations matter. Look at Oliveira. Boom. If it weren't for Poirier wanting, well, I guess Poirier would have fought Oliveira. Who knows? It's just opportunity. Who loses, who wins, at what time. Champion stays. Champion wants to fight someone else. Who knows? Now, Ferguson, Dariush. Tony's last 3 fights, Dariush took his leg. Oliveira takes his arm. Gaethje takes his brain. Are we going to have much left of Tony if he keeps fighting?
The look in his eyes, man, I thought he was gone after the fight. When they were I was worried about the guy when they were announcing the winner, and he's had some stuff in the past. I was just looking into his eyes as they were announcing Dariush as the winner. And I was like, man, I feel for this guy. Like, what a brutal, like what do you win? 12 in a row?
I think so.
And never fought for the official lightweight title. That's a brutal, what's the word? Beat. Brutal beat, as they say in cards or gambling. Like that is rough, man. He's 37. I think we said he was done after the Gaethje fight.
Well, pat on the back, me.
You said he may be done before the Gaethje fight.
I predicted that we're going to see the downfall of Tony, and it was going to be the Gaethje fight. Hot Frank, Tony couldn't finish the Darce because he never got his arm cleared from when Oliveira tore it. He did have Dariush and a Darce, but just couldn't,
Well,
but I guess he has to get the doctors to look at it through the UFC. I don't know.
So I completely forgot how good of a grappler Dariush is. And as I watched the fight, we've discussed it on the podcast, but it's been years because he gets into these ridiculous stand-up fights where he's on the verge of finishing his opponent, then they finish him or vice versa. And it was like, so I was going to say about Gillespie. Now Dariush too is like, they're using that Khabib model, man.
Especially when they're to a certain level of grappling. And what you just talked about, plus $10,000, Beneil Dariush. Everyone's expecting kind of a wild, crazy fight, with striking. And Dariush says, I could feel his strength, sapping in the first round. So why not go back to it? And then he does that to his leg in the second round. So he's like, going to the third round, I have the victory. So he was wanting all these exciting fights. He turned it into the kind of the striking, exchanging style. It makes me think of him versus Drakkar Klose. And then he comes in there and says, remember how good I am at grappling. And he looked damn good.
And he just saw Oliveira put it to Ferguson in the fight before. So
I would like to see Dariush and Oliveira grapple a little bit. That'd be exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Dariush, man, what is it? That's like 7, 8 in a row.
He finally got to that point. I was worried in the last time. I was like, how much has Tony fell versus, excuse me, what level can Dariush reach? He was up there. Then he had the Chiesa. He got submitted by Chiesa and the Barboza loss. I think he's got over that hump. And this is his opportunity now to what he does with the next, 1 to 3 fights.
For him, the perfect opponent is Gaethje.
Because he's better grappler than that guy who was grappling Gaethje in the embedded. I see your logic. It's sound.
It's also Gaethje's postcoital. Just fought for the title. You go in there, you beat Gaethje, you have now won a title eliminator. And he is like, man, lightweight's fucking stacked at the top. So he's probably really 2 wins from a title shot. But in a normal division, he'd be one win. Like if he goes in there and he beat like Justin Gaethje, you could say he deserves a title shot.
Yeah, but when Conor or Poirier pulls out, Nate Diaz fills in, wins. Nate Diaz is fighting Oliveira for the title next.
Correct. You have too many guys in this division who are bad for the division. Conor being one of them.
All right. I was a little worried when Dariush first missed weight. And it made me start thinking of, wow, he missed weight 2 fights ago. His hair is a lot more gray. And then I got to start settling down. I rewatch him missing weight, and I'm like, he seemed kind of surprised. It seemed like a miscalculation. And that's what he said. The scale that he had must have been a little off. So he came back, he made weight. So I was like, all right. Because I started jumping to conclusions really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And that gray hair messed with me. And he said, no, dog, I still got this. Watch this. I'll look stronger and faster than ever.
That gray hair is legit, though.
Rank these 3 things from Dariush's post-fight presser.
So before you see this, you know, his fight, quote unquote, wasn't exciting probably to a lot of people, but his post-fight press conference more than made up for it.
Hey,
or his post-fight interview, I should say.
It's a good thing the fight wasn't exciting because Tony couldn't do anything to him.
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he's wearing down, he's hitting him, he gets him in that, he sets up that submission, and just Tony won't submit.
Speaking of Tony, any word on what ligament he no longer has functioning in his body?
He doesn't have ligaments, so it's irrelevant.
He said it didn't pop, and Dariush said he heard it pop.
Who knows? Tony looked like he was a little, he was taking it easy on that leg.
Because doesn't that move get the ACL a lot of times?
I think so. And I feel like everything has a little bit of the meniscus, which I call the brake pads of the knees. All right, so you rank these 3 things from the Dariush post-fight interview. Number 1, thanking the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Number 2, dedicating this fight to those who have been hurt by Marxist ideology.
And I gotta Google this. Fuck.
Karl Marx.
Is this communism?
Yes.
Yeah, fuck yeah, baby. Give me some.
And then number 3, calling out Elon Musk. Where's my car? Get me my car.
Easy. Number 1, Elon Musk. Number 2, dedication. Number 3, thanking Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Why?
See, I forgot about the political shit beforehand. And then the Musk thing just won me over, and I forgot what occurred prior to that. So like I really enjoyed the Musk call out. And I'm like, call outs are getting better. Like we had the Miley Cyrus call out. We had the same guy call out Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill.
Miley Cyrus. Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, full circle back into Marxist ideology.
And like, so we get Bama Yunus with the some communism a few weeks ago. Then
better red than dead. Damn.
This is your like peak MMA period of time right here, where we're getting this world political shit as these underlying tones within the fight game, man. You got to be loving this.
It's like the universe. You can always look at this background radiation or microwave radiation. It's like this remnants of the Cold War. I love this. I don't hate Marxist capitalism, all that shit. I think some people think they're smarter than what they are. I love it though. I love it all. It's all the same shit over to the beginning of time. I watch so much old shit. I love watching old shit. I just watched The War Room, 1993 documentary on HBO, which is the leading up to the campaign of Clinton. But I just love, it's the same shit over and over again.
This is true.
But the Marxist ideology, I was kind of surprised because he comes from Iran, northern Iran, and I thought it would have something to do with anti-Muslim, because they had the Islamic Revolution there, and I think 79, and the Shah had to leave and everything. But he's Assyrian, and that is basically the same thing as my girlfriend, and they're right there. like she's from northern Iraq, he's from northern Iran, and that same flag that he carries around, my girlfriend says, yeah, they have that up in some of my family members' house in Iraq. That is Syrian flag. But
so you'll probably deep dive this and watch a documentary on this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the Seinfeld episode where it's either Elaine's boyfriend or Kramer's friend is a communist, and then one of the show characters starts to believe in communist ideology. So I'm gonna hunt down that episode and watch that for my research on communism.
I thought you were gonna say you were just gonna buy Tesla stock.
Not a bad idea.
Right when he said that, you're like, well, you already probably had it up, and then we're watching the fight also.
It's true. This is true. It's probably overvalued as a stock right now, but people on Reddit pump it up, so it keeps on going up. Okay.
So what? Oh, last thing. Why did you put our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ as last? Are you a communist? Are you a leftist?
Do communists not believe in God?
That's a big thing, especially during the Cold War, is that communists are atheists.
Oh,
so depending on how old someone is, sometimes what they say, you can kind of judge just how old they are, kind of what they're thinking, and atheism versus communism is a big one.
That's a played out. Thank you. Been hearing it for 30, 40 years, watching sports the entire time. I'm desensitized to it.
I actually think it was Marx or someone else. I don't even care who it was. Whoever's credited with a quote, someone else has probably said it before. Religion is the opiate of the masses.
Okay.
Cowboy versus Ferguson. Loser leaves town.
I'm in.
They need to preface it with that, though. You can go loser leaves town. It has that nice ring, but just whoever loses this has to leave. Just like Cejudo when he was fighting Dillashaw. You have all the flyweights there in the first row. If Cejudo wins, you guys stay. If not, security is fucking walking you guys out right now, and you have to carry out a box of your gloves and your trunks like you're leaving work. They need to make it that you don't want to get too dramatic, but there has to be some kind of consequences.
No, I fully support this.
Because let them have each, and then so you say, get the fuck out of here.
It's new. It's a unique twist on a fight. And it kind of seems like they both know loser leaves town. So just market it as that.
I agree with that. There is also another piece of irony in that Dariush and Oliveira were scheduled to fight in 2020, and it fell through.
No kidding.
They might meet up in the future here.
I both Dariush and Oliveira hanging around for a long time and then making a run at the top 5 or title. It's cool to me. And I think in the Oliveira Chandler fight, watching it, I had a bit of UFC versus, the other stuff. Where we always talk about how, yeah, you can come over and maybe you'll win 1 or whatever or 2, but the depth of the division is going to get you eventually. And if Chandler had won this one, there could have been one narrative coming out of it. So I was glad to see Oliveira get the win for that aspect as well.
So you hate Bellator. Let me just type that. Okay.
Well, it's not even that I hate Bellator. It's that I don't want to invest any time additionally into watching it.
I like this. I like that angle.
It's like, what am I going to watch MMA 16 hours a week?
Do you remember what Big Paul said when I asked him about Chandler and Oliveira?
All I remember is you guys talking about fishing for some reason.
Oh, that's it. That was later in the show. He said, I don't know too much about Oliveira. Or I'm sorry, I don't know too much about Chandler. Is this going to be like that curly haired guy again?
That's right.
Referencing Ben Askren.
I do remember that. Probably not the exact same, although I could see Chandler boxing Paul, whatever his name is, Jake, at some point.
All right. New Sweet Science Hall of Fame moment, because it was absolutely crazy. The end of the fight with Burgos and Barboza. What were you thinking as it was happening?
Nothing.
Just blank, just waiting for like what happened.
That was one of the moments where like your mind stops and the world stops around you and you're just watching with awe. At least that was my experience.
It wasn't mine. Mine was, man, did I look away? I thought I missed a liver kick. I thought it was a shot to the body or a kick. And I was like, I swear I wasn't looking away. Maybe I was, because you kind of just zone out. You look down at your phone, or you look away, you look out the window or something. Like, wow, I didn't think I looked away, but then I'm like, do I have Alzheimer's? Do I have early onset dementia? I started thinking about myself, and no, it's Burgos does.
Burgos does.
It's insane, because it wasn't like a kick, because a kick, you're like, it's delayed, but you kind of just start gradually crumbling. He got hit, went back into his normal bouncing. It wasn't even like he was trying to bounce like baby deer. He went back normal, and then some kind of short circuiting happened. So the Hall of Fame moment is basically, this was a liver shot to the brain.
And that is wild, man. It is wild. It looks like he maybe caught the temple, and maybe the temple is the liver of the brain.
So I have a theory or two here. One is that I think it was the jab. I think it was the shot before the right hand. I think the right hand landed a little more on the cheekbone, but the way his eyes looked a little different, but I could be just imagining that, but I thought they did when he got hit with that. And Hot Frank, Burgos bouncing around after, what caused it. It was basically the tipping point in his brain. I'm not saying that is what happened, but he continued to go back and forth, that boxing style. And basically, like, a concussion is that your brain impact, swirling back and forth, whatnot.
Was he in the post-fight presser?
No. Dana was saying like, oh, you know what? I watched the whole UFC one, so maybe if he was in another one, but I don't think he was there. Dana was like, you're going to the hospital. Burgos was like, no, I'm fine. He's like, no, get the fuck in the ambulance.
Wait, did this really happen?
That's what Dana said happened.
Oh, no shit.
He didn't say get the fuck in the ambulance. I added that, but everything else, he said, no, you're going. He was even fine after it happened. You could see Barboza even like, what the fuck just happened? Did I hit him with the liver kick? And then he kind of was hesitating. He had to hit him a couple times. Everyone was just confused in there, including everyone who's watching it. The previous episode, I said this had his fight of the night written all over it. And it did.
Did it win it?
Yes. Because I was worried that the main and the co-main could get it. Let me triple check. Yes, it did. And it had both elements, high level and action packed. You can always have action packed. Go watch amateur events. They're action packed. They're going to last 30 seconds, one round, whatever. This had both. This fight was so good. I thought it was exciting, even though it could have been, I felt like it was maybe a little bit one-sided, not like too much, but you were always waiting for Barboza to start to fade and Burgos starting to wear on him That's what I felt.
It seemed like Barboza was just 10% better at all times.
To me, is it just me, or does Barboza always look exhausted? He always looks tired, and you're like, man, it's a matter of time. But he still gets it.
Yeah, because I did think Burgos might eke out a finish at some point, but Burgos was having trouble getting inside those kicks, man. Like he couldn't close the distance, and he put together like a handful or so nice shots and some combinations, but he couldn't close the distance enough to create any cumulative damage on Barboza.
True. Burgos's chin is what I was thinking of. Is really good, but it kind of overshadowed whatever. It makes you forget about Barboza has somewhat of an underrated chin because he got hit with some shots also. And at the end of round 1, I thought Barboza was in trouble because Burgos took all of his shots.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's going to wear and it's going to start changing, but it didn't. So props to Barboza.
Yeah, Barboza also looked a hint quicker. Like his shots just had a little bit more on the end of them than Burgos did. But I thought Barboza was going to tire out and Burgos get the finish. Like after round 1, just like you, I'm like he blew his wad, man. I don't think he can't keep this pace up for 3 rounds. Like Burgos probably going to get him, and he didn't. So props to him.
Yeah, and I think this is the Barboza has officially arrived to the featherweight division, and it sucks.
Even with the Ige fight that he lost, but maybe he could have won. Was that who it was?
Yeah, and then he got the win in his next fight versus Amir Khani. But this is, I'm like, all right, Barboza is here. Really excited for his next fight. I love this division. It's a strong division. It sucks that Zabit and Yair have retired or just don't fight anymore. And, I go back there and I look to them. Zabit is taking out the rankings.
Is he?
Yeah. His last fight was in November 2019. Yair still in the rankings, ranked number 3. His last fight is October 2019. So that's 1 month before Zabit. Yair has 1 fight in 2018. Zabit has 2 in 2018. And I know you can't always compare these things. There's different reasons or whatnot, but we always
aren't they supposed to fight.
These two are like a miniature version of Tony and Khabib.
But in a way, they've ruined each other's career. Like these two were scheduled to fight and they've both disappeared.
And we're waiting. Zabit's almost like this, this attachment to Khabib, and Yair's exciting as hell. Man, I really want these guys to fight in this division. They're so exciting and highly skilled and bring a unique skill set. To imagine either of these guys versus Barboza, Zabit or Yair versus Barboza would be excellent.
Zabit hasn't fought, and so I forgot his name. Like I punched in Zabit, then Google auto-corrected and said Zabit Nurmagomedov. And I'm like, is that his last name? And I clicked on it, and then, the real Zabit popped up, but I wasn't 100% sure that wasn't his last name. I'm like, it might be his last name. I
love when the joke becomes reality, because we eventually said anyone from the Caucasus region, we're just calling them Nurmagomedov for their last name. And anyone who has a Polish last name that's difficult, we go Jędrzejczyk. That's it. Whatever. You know what we're saying. We say Zabit Nurmagomedov, you know exactly who we're talking about.
Is Yair in the fighter rankings?
Yes, he's number 3. But Zabit has fought more recent than Yair. And Yair pulled out of the last fight with Zabit, and he has a 6-month USADA violation that just ended, I think, in March.
And you can't say Yair's because he has better hair, because somebody argues Zabit's hair is better.
They're just different styles. Yeah. But whatever. I'm glad Barboza's here. Now, I want to read something that Brother Mark said because maybe some of the listeners can relate to it. And who knows, maybe I shouldn't be reading this. I don't know. But Brother Mark, my new thing is cheering against anyone who calf kicks. I cheer so hard against them. When I saw Barboza's bloody shin, I cheered out loud, and for a moment I hoped it would break, and I was glad about Weidman breaking his leg. That moment passed, but I hate the calf kick. I loathe it. I hate anyone who tries to end the fights via calf kick. And so I'm reminding you, do you want to give a bonus to Uriah Hall?
Oh, yes.
You said to remind you this episode.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
You want to make that your UFC 262 sweet technique?
Yes. Uriah Hall's check. 100%. Because Barboza was throwing leg kicks at such a frequency that I started rooting against him viscerally. And I too, when the blood appeared on his shin, I cheered. I was so happy to see it. And like, once like my anger like reduced a little bit, like I get it. It's a technique, but if that's all you're doing is like trying to throw 15 or 30 around because you know that you land that right one, it debilitates them. I loathe it as well, man. And I said this months ago, like the 3-point shot in the NBA kind of ruined the sport. People don't watch as much anymore. It's not the political stuff, I guarantee it. It's the fucking how it looks. If something's entertaining, people will watch it, whether it's political or not. The calf kick, it's going to turn into two people standing on a line and just trading calf kicks back and forth until the first guy falls.
So I understand where both of you guys are coming from, and there is definitely a part of me with that also. But that isn't how I interpreted it when I was first watching it. How I interpreted it was Shane is this pressure guy with this boxing stance who comes forward, and Barboza right away says, back the fuck up. You're not going to come forward like that all the time. You're going to have to be a little bit more measured, or you're going to have to change your stance. That's how I interpreted it originally.
And I'm okay with that. I prefer the kicks above the knee because there's more meat on the bone there, and you achieve the same benefit without the debilitating effect of the calf kick.
Well, but that's a part of the game is to, take advantage of that weakness. Now, here's what I'm saying. I think there's a transition point where there's an evolution. Now we have to remember, I want to give Burgos $2,500 here. He was able to take those calf kicks. He was able to survive. The fucking broadcast, I think part of the problem is the broadcast putting so much emphasis on that calf kick. I like pointing out that these calf kicks are starting to land now and nothing happening. Burgos, his leg wasn't jeopardized. Who knows how much he trained it or he was able to take it. But these guys, I think, are doing something. Maybe he adjusted his stance. Who knows? Maybe Barboza didn't land it correctly. I don't know. But it's not ending the fights maybe as frequently. I believe guys are starting to evolve and change things, whether they're callousing their leg or adjust their stance, or like Uriah Hall, there's consequences for what you do.
Yeah, I would like to see a little more collateral damage and see a couple more shins get hung up on the old coat hanger, coat rack. And
I think there will be. And who knows, maybe Barboza having, a cut isn't too much on your leg, but maybe there was a little bit of damage there and he backed off of it a little bit.
Wait, so he threw 23 leg kicks in the first round. That's almost 5 per minute. That's one every 12 seconds.
But he did do leg kicks. They count as any kick.
I know.
That he throws.
I'm saying he threw one leg kick every 12-ish seconds.
Yeah. Does that mean he threw a kick to Burgos's leg, or that he threw a strike with his own kick? Like, let's say if he threw a spinning heel kick to the head.
I don't know. That's a good question. Because I thought he threw it to the leg because they have head and body on here as well.
Yeah. So I was always confused by that specific thing in like Fight Metric or UFC stats, because Barboza did throw all their strikes. He threw some to the inside leg. He threw a couple to the body, into the head. But yeah, when he threw those at the very beginning, that's how I interpreted it. And I thought the broadcast was getting a little out of control. They're like, oh my God, the leg is in trouble. It's jeopardized. I'm like, dude, it's the first fucking 10 seconds. Just relax and let's see. And it wasn't in jeopardy.
No, the broadcast though is out of control.
And I don't have issues with the broadcast in its entirety. It's just certain moments.
They get out of control.
So that was the fight of the night. I agree. I agree. Not the fight of the night. Can you guess which one?
Oh, let me play pop real fast. Probably one of the two fights I skipped on the main card.
Correct. Which one?
Bontarin.
Because you know I'm not a sexist. Well played. Bontarin versus Schnell.
I tried to watch the fight. It was awful. Like I started watching it. I can't do it, man.
The fight was not originally on the main card. There was Hermanson versus Shabazian, and also, earlier there was Edwards versus Diaz. These are let me remind everyone, these are flyweight guys, 125. They are fighting this fight at a catch weight, bantamweight, 135. Bontarin missed weight, 137.
I saw that.
That's ridiculous. And the guy who misses weight won, and it went the distance. So there's a lot of factors here on why this fight isn't the fight of the night. Nothing against Schnell, just all the other situations. You can't have the guy moving up a weight class and missing weight. That guy wins and it goes the distance. No way. Not the fight of the night. Easy.
I'm shocked Schnell's in the UFC. Wasn't he like a below average person who got on Tough? He had like 5 career fights and he was taken out very quickly on the show. When I saw him on this card, I was blown away. He's still fighting the UFC. Yeah, his first fight is the Tough finale, 2016. So he was on Tough, and he wasn't very good.
Well, I mean, he returned to flyweight, but then he did put together 4 in a row, lost to Pantoja. So I think he's earned his spot now.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm impressed by it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think he'd be around 5 years later after watching him on Tough and in his first couple UFC fights post Tough.
And then I feel bad for him here. He's got to have this guy miss weight, but maybe he got a little extra cash in his pocket, So not so sweet technique, minus 25,000. Rogerio Bontarin, flyweight, fighting at bantamweight, still misses weight. And what is hilarious, James? He fought Ray Borg 2 fights ago. No. And it was his first UFC loss.
The Ray Borg rub.
All right, James, did Ray Borg or did Bontarin miss weight for that fight?
Oh, I mean, both. I mean, Ray Borg had to have, right?
He did.
Ray Borg has missed weight in more fights than most people have UFC wins.
We need Ray Borg to win the title. That's all I'm saying.
At 127?
Whatever. Cyborg weight? We need a Borg weight, man. Ray Borg? Cyborg? Ray Cyborg. How about that nickname?
I like it, man.
Or is that disrespectful? To be fair, Bontarin has never missed weight before. So
Still, though, I think Hall of Famer, man. I know, but it's not quite what Rumble did. When Rumble,
we're talking Rumble, Hendricks, Ray Borg. These are true Hall of Famers. Bontarin still needs some more.
The Mount Rushmore of people who miss weight. But wait, what did it? Right again, because this is good to rehash. Rumble, in his very first middleweight fight, so 185, didn't he weigh in at 197 versus Vitor Belfort? He missed middleweight by 11 pounds.
I can't remember. Did he miss it by that much? Is that even legal? Does the federal government come in and intervene? I got to look for
Johnson weighed 197.
And he was coming up from 170. That's pretty amazing. Bonus, Rumble Johnson.
Well, then Rumble weighed 211 on Fight Night.
Just fight heavyweight, Rumble. Why are you playing around with 205, man? Come in there and fight Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou. Fight these fucking guys. It would be so exciting.
100%, man.
I mean, fighting Yoel is fun. It's exciting, but we want to see Rumble at his biggest. 265 Rumble.
The thing is, Yoel's done.
He's got one eyeball, man. He's Bisbing. And who I love you, Mike, and all that stuff. And it's ironic that both of them have, one eye.
What is the Yoel thing that happened to him?
I think he has an eye issue.
Oh, man.
So additional bonuses, plus $5,000, Andre Muniz. The broadcast talks about Muniz saying he's a better grappler than Jacare. They're like, that's fucking ridiculous. Moments later, breaks Jacare's arm.
That was like one of the most ridiculous snaps. Unless what I saw was fake, because I heard the result during I watched the main card first, and one of them mentioned Jacare losing on the main card. I'm like, oh, I guess I know Jacare lost now. So I found some highlights somewhere and I heard the snap. Was it that loud, or did I watch like a bullshit video or something?
No, I've watched the broadcast over and it really happens. I don't remember hearing it live though. And Rogan, before that, talks about how Roger Gracie broke Jacare's arm and then Jacare just tucked it into his belt. And I don't think the guy was saying he's better than Jacare ever. I think the guy was saying, I'll submit his ass because he's 41 years old. That's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Where's Moon? Where's he from?
You're trying to say if he's from Mexico or Brazil? Is that kind of what's going through your head?
I'm just trying to say, is he someone who is Jacare one of his heroes? Did he grow up in the same country?
I'm not sure. I think he is Brazilian though.
Yeah. So Jacare's probably his dad or something.
I thought it was funny how DC couldn't look, and then they're like, let's hear it. And then DC takes his headphones off. He doesn't even want to hear it. I love when he gets squeamish like that, or is just like, that's like me with certain stuff. I'm like, I don't need to watch anymore. I've seen enough of this. I'm traumatized.
Thing is, I'll watch the Burgos knockout 34 times in a row. But that's his brain snapping. I'm good with that.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's enclosed, whatever. Muniz is now 3-0 in the UFC. I am definitely paying attention to his next fight. He's I love a specialist to this extent. This is good. These new guys are going to come up. Just the sport is great. We were talking about the broadcast, plus $1,000 Daniel Cormier for his technical tidbits throughout the event. I do like him implementing the technical analysis in there. He's pretty good with it, especially from a wrestling standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Such a high level wrestler. He's coaching. Give us some of that. And
I
then
thought it was funny, like in the event preview, they had Cormier, the wrestler guy, talk about Chandler, and they had Rogan, the BJJ guy, talk about Oliveira.
okay.
I just thought it was kind of funny that maybe this happened organically or was it by design, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. And then plus $500, Din Thomas. I'm not calling him Dean. He's Din.
Correct.
There are 3 times that I know of that he came in with pretty good points. So I like him being there. And how I like Trevor coming in.
The one he made about Ferguson was like, whoa, I never would have thought of that or have heard that before. Like the guy's a wild man when you're a young buck. It's okay. You get a little older, a little slower. You need more technique. Can't be a wild man anymore. And then it's like the technique, falls short a little bit. I thought that was like an interesting nugget that I'd never considered.
Yeah. So now the technical aspect is getting exposed from these guys who are.
It's similar to when you're the tired effect. When it's round 4, the minute 4, who has the best technique?
Yeah. Yep.
Similar, huh? It's interesting. I enjoyed that little nugget as well.
Plus $1,000, Lando Veneta wins his featherweight debut. It wasn't that it was one guy really trying to wrestle him or whatnot, but that's his debut. There we go. We got another addition to 145, and who knows what's going to come of him. I still have hope for him that he can do a little bit of damage.
Man, long overdue, huh?
Yeah.
He was a small lightweight when he fought 10 fights ago versus Tony Ferguson in his debut.
And somehow he was smaller than this guy too. Plus $250, Luciana Andrade for being Luciana Andrade.
So Veneta is the reverse John Jones. Like no matter what weight Veneta drops down to, he's the smaller guy. Whereas Jones, no matter where he fights, he's always the bigger guy.
Yes, used to be the Anderson Silva effect too. Can I say one thing? Dariush, maybe it's some good luck, him mentioning Robert Whittaker in his post-fight interview from before. Maybe that's why I should pick him to win.
What did he say? Because in my head, he said he wanted to be as good a dad as Whittaker.
Yeah, he wanted to call him out, good as dad or good a person or something like that. Robert Whittaker's all those things. Plus $100, the cameraman in Barboza's corner between rounds 2 and 3. I swear that guy must have laid down on the ground and got in between his cornermen just to get that damn shin cam with the blood.
And let's give you $10 for giving your first cameraman bonus on the pod.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I wonder if I have.
You can get a few Bang energy drinks, maybe a Monster, a Rockstar.
Plus $50, Dana's traps at the presser.
Dana is fucking gigantic now.
I mean,
he's always been big, but he looks like he looks more cut. Maybe he's actually leaner, just looks bigger.
He must have been doing shrugs before the presser, man. Those things were pumped. I should give a bonus to Chukagian's submission defense. She defended a guillotine arm triangle. So plus 1,000. Plus $50, Araujo's delts. Those things are popping. Plus $25, Araujo holding on to Chukagian's chin. I like that little technique when she was on top of her. Plus $50, Barboza's trunks.
Okay, hang on. I was gonna say, have you been studying anatomy book? Because we're getting a lot of body part bonuses today. Were you studying anatomy with one of the boys in the past week?
No, but you got a nice body part, you get a fucking bonus for it.
I mean, Barboza was on our top 15, whatever that segment was that went 6 hours long.
Yeah, he's gotten enough body bonuses. I'm giving him for his trunks. Not his trunk, like his torso.
Okay.
His trunks, they were yellow. I started thinking, damn, could I wear those trunks as swim trunks? I mean, I can't have Barboza on them, right? And then if I have Fraley on them, I'm a douche, right?
But you could say it means something different. Like, oh, what's Barboza mean? Oh, it means fighter. You could say anything.
Oh, because nobody watches UFC anyway. So
No one knows who Barboza is.
Maybe they'll
Maybe
think that's
Leandro Barbosa from the Phoenix Suns back in the day. Remember him, NBA player?
yes. He was so fast. But remember how on that one vacation I was Paul Barno? The guys would call me Maybe I'm Paul Barboza on the next vacation.
I've been getting called Mr. Finney so much lately, man.
Whatever.
It is what it is.
So I was looking at those. I might buy a pair of them as a swim trunks. So we'll see. I loved them.
All right.
But then when I go and look at my body and it's not Barboza's body, I'll be like, damn, these things are ugly. I'm going to have to put on some bronzer, man. Plus $10, John Anik. They're talking about Lando Veneta, and they're talking about, his nickname's Groovy. And then John just comes in with Cub Swanson named him that at an IHOP. And then just doesn't expand, and they keep talking about the fight. It's like, how random. I thought it was funny.
That is funny.
I only have one more deduction, and that's minus $250 Portuguese. I forgot how much translating halted the flow of a press conference.
Man.
So sorry, it's maybe I should learn Portuguese, but then it would just be repeated twice. So it just it messes with the flow a little bit.
Yeah.
Come on, Charles, you're champion now. Get those fucking lessons.
Plus, he's like a 20-year veteran. He fought on a Tank Abbott card.
Oliveira has been in the UFC for 10 years. He has the most submission wins in UFC history. He just won the title, and he is only 18 years old.
Unreal.
That is nuts.
Unreal. You know what? Let me give a bonus here too, because I'll add on one thing here. Is let's call it $50 to cover the cost to do it. But I enjoyed how Oliveira's entire corner had dyed blonde hair.
Oh yes, I forgot to put that down.
Let's cover that so they break even on that expense.
On the hair dye. And then I don't know how much Davison Figueiredo charges to cut and dye all their hair. I don't know if it was a cut and color. Was it just a color? I don't know.
I think he's a pretty renowned hairstylist.
What if he was the hairstylist for UFC guys? Like he had to go to every event.
I would love that.
They have a tailor. I don't know if they have a makeup person there too. Well, they do it for when they do the interviews and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can't go under that light without a makeup on.
All right. Fight announcements and denouncements. Hold on a second here. I don't know how many I have here, but let's look. All right. Thiago Santos versus Johnny Walker.
All right.
Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises. Paulo Costa versus Jared Cannonier. And Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw.
Again?
Yes. Clay Guida versus Marco Madsen, which is crazy because I was just thinking of Marco Madsen. And then the last one, Ryan McGregor Bourne.
Is that like a new Bourne Identity movie?
I don't know whether to answer you or not. That's McGregor's son, his third.
All right. Number 9 or whatever, how many are on here, is Makhachev versus Moises Alou.
Nice.
And here's why. He was going to fight RDA 2 fights ago, which is a much bigger name and a guy highly ranked. And it'd be, if he won, it'd be a stepping board. And now this will be his second fight versus someone who's relatively unknown.
You're right. This fight is last. You passed the test. What the hell's going on here? We're waiting for Makhachev. Come on, let's get the opponent. We know he's good. Not anything. Not that he can't lose versus this guy, but come on. All right, go to the next one. This is disgusting.
Number 1 is Costa versus Cannonier. I like that fight.
That's your number 1?
Yeah. Does that surprise you?
No, I was just asking like that because I wasn't sure if I heard you correctly. But no, maybe because they're both post-coital.
And Costa was going to fight Whitaker. Did he have an injury?
He always has an injury.
That's true.
So
he has 11 career fights, I think. And
11 career injuries.
He's kind of like the we just discussed him with the pullout with the weigh-ins. He's Borg.
Ray Borg.
Like Ray Borg to missing weight is Paulo Costa to injuries.
Oh, that bodybuilding will catch up to you, huh?
100% it does, man. Number 2 is Sandhagen versus Killishaw. If it doesn't happen, it's number 7. So this depends on the outcome.
Okay.
If it's postponed again, it's ranked behind Makhachev.
Okay.
3 is Santos versus Johnny Walker. That fight should be fireworks.
I would think so.
That's got to be a Coco on a numbered event, maybe a co-main event on a UFC on ESPN. I could see it headlining a fight night.
Santos might not get a main card opener because of his fight with damn it. Why am I forgetting? Oh, Rakic. That one wasn't as exciting, even though it was okay. So maybe they won't give him that spot again. So Coco would be a great one. Somewhere on a main card, I think.
Yeah, my mind blocked out the Rakic fight. Yeah, so he's lost 3 in a row too. Is he fighting for his life?
God, maybe it shouldn't be on a main card. I'm sorry. But Walker has more. Hey, man, he could be. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know how to even rank these two. I'm shocked Clay Guida's still fighting. I thought when he fought BJ Penn, that was his last fight in the UFC. He's fought
won
3 times since then. Look at this guy's fights, man. All JFL guys. He's fought this year.
Yeah, he won.
I do not remember him fighting Michael Johnson.
I mean, since that Ortega knee, he's 4-3. I mean, you can spin it.
6 career fights. Hey, man. Good for him, dude. That's number 4 then. But,
Marco Madsen, he is a decorated wrestler. I mean, he is 36. He fights in lightweight, 155. What was he? A silver medalist in the Olympics. And he's 10-0 in MMA, 2-0 in the UFC. It's just good to see a specialist like this and what he can do.
Yeah. Much like your boy who's the grappler and he never fights. He beat BJ Penn. What's his fucking name?
Ryan Hall.
Thank you, Ryan Hall. Mark Manson's Wikipedia page says wrestler, not fighter. And Ryan Hall says grappler. I don't know. That's funny to me.
Hey, it's good. They're specialists. That's what they do. That's what intrigues me.
Someone changed Ryan Hall as the fighter.
What? No,
Yes.
that's not right.
Shout out to the show listener who made that happen. I guess when you beat Darren Elkins, you get promoted.
I mean, 2 years ago.
So who does Mark Manson have to fight to get his promotion?
Clay Guida. I somehow want Guida to make a title run.
Oh, could you imagine?
All right. So then the last one.
3 kids is too many, man. You can't rank that high.
So that's
You
kind of
fucked
the
up.
reason I'm bringing this up is because you have like a 3-kid theory.
I do?
Well, yeah, you said that's like the tipping point where.
Oh, yes. That's with the female body as well. The female body never comes back from child number 3.
Oh, so this mainly isn't for the guy. Well, no, because we had talked about Matthew Stafford before. And then look, he has a 3rd kid and gets traded.
He has not played well since having his 3rd kid. And I think his 3rd kid was twins, so I think he has 4 kids actually.
Oh my God, that's just wrong.
Yeah. Thing is, I picture Matthew being I don't want to use the word better dad, but maybe more involved dad is a way to word it.
Okay.
Because you can not be a bad dad, but kind of keep your spacing properly and be able to function optimally in your career and in your life. So I picture Conor. Thing is, Conor lets everything distract him. I got Dustin.
That makes him better.
I got Dustin.
Fighter.
He's fighting Dustin in July.
Yeah.
2 months after giving birth.
Well, oh.
What's the bet line on that, dude? What's the bet line on that?
I mean, you make it sound like it's like Nina Anstroff, like giving birth.
Here's what it is. People think their kids help them in life, but they actually hurt them. So any success you achieve with a child is in spite of your kids, not because of them. Listen, man, I
love that.
I 100% believe that, man.
Oh.
Conor's the favorite, man. On most betting lines, but
I don't know what to think of that fight yet. I haven't really thought about it too much, but I'm not initial reaction. I'm not leaning one way or the other. I'm kind of
like, is Conor a little post-coital though with the birth of his kid
and the loss to Poirier? Especially, I'm humbled a little bit because I thought Conor was going to go in there and put it on him, but he wanted to extend the fight and wrestle a little bit. And plus, Poirier's got skills. I realize it, but
I was listening to Sports Radio Detroit the other day. I was streaming it, and a show character on one of the shows came back, and he was gone for 6 or 8 weeks because he was on what's it? Is it paternity leave for a man? Whatever it's called, he was on that. And when he came back, he said, I wasn't on leave for the newborn. I was because I had to help my wife because all the stuff that she was doing. But maybe if you're Conor and like a billionaire, you have people who do that stuff for you. But I feel like his duties will still increase to some degree being post-pregnancy.
True. Maybe. I don't know. He's got a lot of money, so he's got a couple nannies there. But the thing is, he's banging the nannies, so that's a little conflict. And I don't know what to think of it, man.
Seeing Conor get finished kind of so easily. Like, he was in the fight, he was knocked out 10 seconds later. I'm like, whoa. It kind of like shook me a little bit.
And now you're seeing Ferguson even though Ferguson's been in, UFC longer, maybe that starts affecting you when these guys
But
start becoming more human.
Conor ages like a dog, though, a little bit faster than the average human. Yeah, he's
How
30,
much does an 8-ball take off your life?
dude. He's 32 going on 38.
No, how much does an 8-ball take off your life?
See, now, from my own personal experience, during that era, I didn't work or have any responsibilities. So I wasn't trying to juggle additional things while in my party phase. So it didn't affect me like it does probably someone who has to, like, work and, keep a job. I didn't do any of that during that period of time.
Okay. That makes sense.
I think I might have went like 7 years without a job there. No, not that long. 3 to 4.
What about this week's event?
Good times. I'm excited for this main event, man. Rob Font versus Gobi.
Yeah, this fight has been canceled once. I'm thinking, does Gobi didn't he just, he's starting, these injuries are starting to become more and more frequent. I'm thinking how much trading, it just kills me that his middle name is Ray Allen. It gets me every time I click on his page.
Is his last fight the Brazilian guy that he had like that,
Yeah, Rafael Sansao.
The cable lift knockout?
Yeah, a little off the
Man,
fence.
When was that? Over a year ago?
It was June 2020. He had that good hair and everything. It was good. He finally, after suffering 3 losses in a row, this is a good fight, and we're gonna get to see where these guys are. Kind of, where's Cody gonna go from here? Is Font gonna make that next step up? He's showing that he has some skills. He's developing.
I got a question for you. This is completely irrelevant to what you're talking about, but I'm dying to ask it. Who would you rather see make a title run? Clay Guida, who you mentioned a little bit ago, or Court McGee?
Clay Guida.
But Court McGee overcame heroin addiction.
But he's your guy, man. I give it that. Clay Guida is just funnier to me. That's your guy. You love Clay Guida. I'm sorry, Court McGee.
No, I've always rooted against Clay Guida.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his energy just always rubbed me there. I'm a Clay Guida hater, man. I'll admit it, dude.
I just think it'll be funny. I really it's good that he gets a win. He tries his ass off.
It's lesser now than it was before.
Okay.
Like now he's a dude. He's in the JFL, one of the founding members. Respect that and all that stuff. But like in the early days when he was like right around fighting Anthony Pettis, he just couldn't contain himself. He had so much energy inside of him. He had to just lose his mind before every fight. I couldn't, man. I couldn't. Anyway, Court McGee's lost 5 out of 6, man. He could be fighting for his, like, what if he loses and gets back into heroin again?
UFC might be saving his life. Is that why Dana keeps him in the league? He's 1-5 in his last 6.
He has a loss to your all-time favorite nickname fighter, and he has a win against one of your all-time favorite fighters. He lost to Nick the Promise Ring, and he beat Robert Whittaker.
He does have a win over Robert Whittaker. That should keep him in the UFC till he dies. Kind of like Stephan Bonner and Forrest Griffin. And that is funny. And he has that loss to Sean Brady. I love me some Sean Brady.
I mean, Carlos Condit got back on the horse versus Court McGee.
I'm sorry. You know what fight? I forgot one of the fight announcements.
No.
Rank these fights. Makhachev versus Moises Alou. or Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland.
Wait, is that happening?
Yes.
What the fuck? Wait, that doesn't make sense to me. Uriah Hall fought Chris Weidman, and now he's fighting
Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland has 4 straight wins coming off the win over Jaco.
Yeah, but this isn't good, man, for me. This is just the kind of guy who's gonna fucking beat Uriah Hall.
I wonder which one surprised you more, Makhachev or Hall? The fight announcements. Maybe this one's too new for you. You seemed almost devastated.
This is gonna.
James's head is in his hands. He just,
dude. I think this is it, man. For Uriah Hall's rise to the top. This is just the kind of guy who's gonna beat him, man. I know it.
And Uriah Hall was getting ready to beat. He was gonna come in late notice and beat Adesanya.
He was a win away, man, from a title shot.
I think he needs some more credit for the Chris Weidman thing.
100%. He landed a shot there. He should have the landed strike, not Weidman.
But doesn't that show you that you're better when you can win a fight without landing a strike?
Yes.
That's next level. You've mastered it.
Yes, I'm just saying if anybody landed a strike in that fight, it's Uriah Hall.
Okay, that makes sense. So which fight announcement is worse?
I mean, Uriah Hall.
Yeah, you seem devastated by this one.
Because Makhachev's going to win his fight.
Yeah.
So it's just delayed. It's a delayed ascension.
He might be in trouble where he's almost submitted and it'd be like, oh my God, he's not as good as Khabib or this and that. And then he wins.
This is just the guy, man.
Or because Strickland is tough. He's this kind of gritty veteran now. And it's funny listening to Michael Bisping talk when Sean Strickland has fought because he's trained with him. And he kind of takes these shots at him, being kind of playful where, well, he doesn't listen to anyone except himself. So maybe this is an opportunity for Uriah Hall to land that spinning back kick again.
Or Strickland finally listens.
Yeah, that's good. Checkmate. All right.
Holds down all for a few rounds.
Font. I think Font's going to win. I think he's put it together. I think his length will be an issue. I think Font is hard to knock out. And Cody's fast and everything, but that long jab, I think length is going to matter. And I think he's going to beat Garbrandt. So, this is without rewatching fight tape, so take it with a grain of salt.
I think Font will be more active and has a better chin. But the one thing, because I'm picking Font as well. So the one thing that gives me hesitation is like people, they kind of get mesmerized by Gobi's speed.
I being one of them.
And they
his
kind
hand speed.
So like, even though Sunset, I believe, was winning that fight, I don't know what the scorecard said, but I thought he was winning the fight. There wasn't a lot of striking volume. And then Gobi landed that, killer shot. But I don't think Gobi landed more than 10 strikes in any of the rounds. Let me double check this real fast.
I don't recall much of the fight other than that final strike.
Yeah. So the fight went virtually 2 rounds. Gobi has 19 significant strikes landed in that fight.
True. But you also could say, he was coming off those 3 losses. Maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Had something to do with it. I don't know. His hand speed I do like, but I think Font will be able to get it done. It should be an exciting fight.
Yeah, I think Font wins by TKO.
What about look at that possible title eliminator right there?
I feel like it has to be, doesn't it?
Jan versus Esparza.
Man, Esparza's ascent for a second time is just, it's wild to me. I'm kind of rooting for her because I kind of left her for dead.
Because she's Cookie Monster and you're Chip Monster. Do you feel a connection to her?
Because I do love cookies too. Yesterday I got into a bag of cookies and I couldn't stop. I had to throw them out. So I threw out half the pack. It was.
You know what you need? A non-alcoholic cookie.
Dude. I like that, man. Yeah, so yeah, this is a good fight, man. There's Jans are dominant. Every Jan wins a belt.
Oh my God. Can I just pick her off of that?
I might.
I mean, you came up with it, but you sold me. Sparza is gritty. She's come back around.
You know why? She's overcome a cookie addiction.
Yeah, she put that she's addicted to MMA now. She's like the Court McGee of cookies.
That's what addicted people do, is they just really trade out one for one that's less damaging to themselves.
Yeah. So Carla, Court McGee, Esparza.
So we have 2 former addicts on this event. That's got to be a first. Ben Rothwell probably has a food addiction as well. So 3 addicts.
Who knows who else? Yancy Medeiros, maybe something. I don't know.
Yeah, where he grew up, for sure.
Well, all I am is thinking, isn't Louis Smoka from Hawaii too?
Did he have an addiction?
Are Hawaiians alcoholics?
Yeah.
BJ Penn's an alcoholic. They are?
BJ Penn. Isn't BJ Penn? But maybe.
I don't know.
Everyone is an addict to something, but it's how you channel your addiction. Is it for productivity or is it for self-destruction?
You're asking me self-destruction.
This is every human, I'm just saying.
Okay.
And maybe some people channel it like into a neutral climate. Like, I think probably video games is semi-neutral.
Okay.
Where is Medeiros on this card? Oh, there he is. There, he's way down there. Also, Hermanson versus Shabazian. That should be fun.
Yeah, that's the opener that was supposed to be on the Coco of UFC 262. That's an important fight. Hermanson is post-coital, right?
I think he's lost 2 in a row.
No, he lost to Vittori. He beat Kelvin Gastelum, heel hook, and then was TKO'd by Cannonier.
Shabazian's off a loss.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see what's going to happen with him.
Knocked off his meteoric rise.
That Derek Brunson loss.
So this is a big spot for both these guys because Shabazian, like, he was the next coming, and then he gets pretty much dominated by Derek Brunson. And Hermanson was pretty close to a title eliminator there with Vittori. Lost that. So that should be good.
This is a good fight night. Nothing, it has 3 decent fights up there on the main card.
Some feel-good stories. I'm convinced Amanda Nunes is the women's featherweight matchmaker as well as the champion.
The thing. Wait, why do you say that?
Well, based on, she had a quote where Dana would eliminate the division if it wasn't for Nunes. But because Nunes wants the division around still, Dana's keeping it. So if somebody ever beats Nunes, we can remove this division.
And
are there rankings yet? Or are they still not there?
no, there's no rankings. There's nobody in the division.
This is
but
ridiculous.
Yes, but you can understand it from Nunes' standpoint, right? She loves free money.
Yeah, I love tomato cans too and tomato paste. I love it.
You love going to work and you're like, you know what? Just sit at work, watch a little TV, play on your phone. You're like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, a little salt, a little pepper, a little garlic, a little basil, a little oregano. Let it simmer for a little while. Throw it over some noodles. Yeah, same, man.
And that's why he can't get rid of the division, because Amanda Nunes won't let him. Just completely blames it on her. Has nothing to do with him.
What a genius move, though, from him. He's like, listen,
man.
I don't want this division either.
What am I going to do? Amanda says, yes, she kicked my ass. I can't do anything about it.
That's how much he respects her and loves her, though.
I can respect that. I can totally understand where he's coming from, because I had the same feeling towards her.
Is there something you would get rid of, but because you love and or respect an entity so much, you don't?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
I don't know what mine would be either. I was racking my brain there, but nothing came to mind.
Court McGee fighting Claudio Silva. I always would talk about him. He's the same guy as I think Leonardo Santos.
Yeah.
They're the same exact guy. I can't believe I even remembered his name, because he just lost Claudio Silva just lost his first fight since 2007 to James Krause via decision. Has a win over Leon Edwards. Court has his hands full.
Yeah, sweet stat. Every Silva male to enter the UFC has reached the top 10 at some point.
If you're just Silva, you're born tough, huh?
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're just a badass automatically. Just your genetics, just
even if Silva's your first name. Who is it? Silva de Andrade? No.
Yeah. Oh, he has he's got one of those last names that whatever. Do they do like a genetic profile and they say, all right, you're a Silva?
You know what it is? They're probably children plucked from their parents at birth and trained by the government in some kind of controlled environment.
Oh, is it so?
Silva.
So they're a Spartan.
Correct.
So Spartan, Silva just means Spartan in Portuguese.
Yes, exactly.
Also, nice bringing it full circle to the end here with your, we talked about Dariush and Marxist ideology, and then you talk about a communist country, because that's what they do. They kind of pluck you at the end, and they pluck you and raise you up to be a high quality athlete or whatever.
Listen, if you throw darts at a dartboard blindfolded long enough, you'll hit a bullseye.
All right, man.
Let's get the fuck out of here.